Hello, everybody. My name is Alex Galvez. I'm a person with disability that lives in Guatemala, and I'm part of this incredible organization called Asociación Transiciones or Transitions Foundation for Guatemala. It's a nonprofit of people with disabilities in Guatemala. It's a pleasure with me. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you and talk to you all in this very important day, the day of people with disabilities around the world. I would like to share with you my screen so you can see the work that we're doing here in Guatemala and some information about my experience in Guatemala. So let me share with you my screen. So there we go. Can you see it right now?
Yes, we can see it.
Yes. Wow. Very nice. So as I said, a little snapshot of the disability in Guatemala and many other developing countries. And I would like to mention, yes, very important details of what's our reality. It's more than 10% of Guatemalans have a disability, and 24% of Guatemalans over age of 50 have a disability. That's incredible. One of the important things that really makes me a little bit worried is that a third of households contain a person with disability, which is, a lot of people in our country. And I would like to also say that most common type of disabilities, which is something that I find very interesting, is anxiety and depression. These two are much more prevalent in women than men. That's something that we have experienced here in the almost 28 years that I've been working here in Transitions. And then we have vision and hearing. Access to assistive technology, which is a very important topic that we work here in Transitions, and I didn't explain, really what we do here. We have a wheelchair manufacturing workshop where we build wheelchairs, custom wheelchairs, and using appropriate technology. And most of the people, well, not most, but half of the people that work for us have some, sort of disability, which is, very important for us because we can be a role model for other people that come to receive our services. And as I was saying, 67 of people who need a wheelchair don't have one. 67 of people who need white canes don't have one. And 97 of people who need a hearing aid don't have one. So the reason why not, is because they cannot afford it, and that's something I would really like to share with you. When I, got, shot, I, ended up with a spinal cord injury. I didn't really have a wheelchair. When I was at the hospital, people said, well, there's nothing we can do about your case. You cannot walk, you're not going to be able to walk. And we're going to ask your family to come and get you. And my family didn't really know what to do with me because I could not walk and they didn't have a wheelchair. And so they have to find, a used wheelchair to take me out of the hospital and take me home. So it's very important to share these facts with you because in countries like Canada, the US, and Europe, they don't have to go through that. But in countries like Guatemala or countries that are in our region, they really suffer from not having a wheelchair of a crutch or a walker, whatever they need to move around. And if we go through the other topic, which is disability and policies in Guatemala, we ratified the Convention for the Rights of Persons with Disabilities, but we don't really comply, we have everything on paper here, it's amazing. And just so I was able to get all, most of my rehab in the US, and it was amazing. I always thought, that was like having the full package, I used to call it, because, they have everything there. You have a metro, you have accessible, buildings, clinics, everything is accessible. But on the other hand, in Guatemala, we have nothing. We go out on the street and there's curbs. People don't respect, people with disabilities. They don't respect our rights. So that's very interesting. In Guatemala, we have everything on paper because I've been working on the policies, and yeah, it's amazing. We have everything on paper, but we don't really put it in practice, which is unfortunate. And good intentions as everybody, but not compliance, the mechanisms or timeless. No sanctions, that's one of the things we had here, in our own town. We were trying to work on this path, to have an accessible path to go from, Central Park to the hospital, in Central Park from, different important places in the town. And the municipality, didn't really help us. They had this law where, the electricity company had the right to install, poles on the center of the sidewalks, which, that was crazy. We were trying to, make this path, accessible, and they just didn't comply with it, So no sanctions, no budget. Of course, we asked them, we know they should have budget for this very important need, but they don't apply it. And no means of enforcement. So in terms of government support for people with disabilities, that's one of the reasons we exist in Guatemala. Because when we got started, we didn't really see an entity, an entity from the government that will support people with disabilities, and that's why we have created this. And even though we've been working very hard and we are very proud of the work that we do, we know that it's not our responsibility. It's the government's responsibility to provide the services, appropriate services for people with disabilities. So as you can see, we have no social safety, no employment quotes. And that's very interesting because, some other organizations have come to visit us and they say, well, we want to come to Transitions and see, how you've done it. Because at least more than half of the people that work at Transitions have a disability. So we comply with that quote, which, there's no quote at all. We do it because we believe that we are to set up a role model for other organizations and for the public in general. No personal care or home to help programs. No classrooms, aids, almost no public provision for rehabilitation. No public provision of assistive device. And that's one of the reasons we've been working with some other, churches and foundations to be able to provide those the assistive technology that people need here through our programs. Let me go to the next one, which is stigma and discrimination. Having, I have had, my disability about, since 1994, almost 28 years ago, something like that. And I'm a person who, has strong character. I don't let anybody discriminate me, but I do see how people discriminate other people that come here to get our services. There was this mom who said, well, my kid with cerebral palsy wanted to have, to get rehab from the hospital. And the people at the hospital say, well, I think you just don't apply, you just cannot come, you cannot get the services. And she had to go back to her town and ask, for a letter of recommendation, talk to a person. And then with this letter of recommendation, they did help the kid, which I think it's a way to discriminate, And it's just a stigma because this person didn't really have the education. This person didn't really look like they have the means to pay. So it's a way to discriminate. And we see that, very often here. People come here and they say, "Whoa, we didn't know that you existed. We went to the hospital. They didn't give us, any support. They didn't give us share, advice on how to deal with, this new, experience of having a person with disability." So children with disabilities are often kept hiding at home because of shame. They believe, it's something that, came from God. They don't want people to see, that they have a person with disability in their community. It's amazing. We have visited some villages, in the highlands, and we see that very often. And people is just used to it. That's amazing. It's not a weird thing, to see that a family had, have a person with disability hiding at home. And I just think that's just not right. Everybody deserves to be treated with, dignity, and that's what we're doing here. And as you can see in the presentation, we see fathers, often leaving, the family. Fathers that when they have a child, with disabilities, just disappear. They don't want to be part of it, you know. And the other thing is, people say here in Guatemala that we have free education for all. They call this program free education for all, which is, a joke, because although they say that when you go to school, they don't have an accessible school, they don't have a teacher, that knows how to deal, with, people with disabilities. They don't know how to teach, kids, with special needs. So it's very difficult, and then you ended up with a person who used to be a child and now he's a grown-up that don't really have a base, cannot go to work, cannot, sustain, themselves because they don't have educations. The reason is there is no access for education in Guatemala. And the other thing is, transport, you know, people without a disability struggle here to be able to move, from their home to their work or from their home to, wherever they want to go, because it's very difficult with the public transport. Could you imagine the person with disability trying to climb into a bus, what we call here a chicken bus, which is a school bus. It's so difficult. We don't have that, People have to pay a lot of money on taxis, on Ubers, or the motor taxis sometimes to move around, and they don't have the money. They don't have even money to eat, They don't work. So it's a way to discriminate people with disabilities here by not including access, on the public transport. So let me stop for a minute and read a little bit of my presentation. As a result, people with disabilities have high rates of poverty in a country that's already poor. Average of month of income of $350, less access to education and employment, and more serious problems. It's one of the things that we see very, very often. People come here to get, a appropriate wheelchair, and we find out that this person have a pressure ulcer, have bowel problems, and they don't even know how to treat them. They don't know where to go to get that right answer because information is not available here. So part of the solution. I don't think it's part of the solution, but we would like to believe that it's part of the solution to have an organization of people with disabilities providing mobility for others like ourselves. Yeah, I mean, it's working now, but I don't think that's part of the solution. Part of the solution is that the government should be creating programs, should have special programs for persons with disabilities in Guatemala. But yeah, there we go. There's Transiciones, these organizations that I was, blessed, and, I don't know what happened to me, from a very, very bad tragedy of ended up, being with disability. I was able to start, helping other people that had the same problems I had. And we have created these organizations, I've been here 28 years, since day one. And we started because there was a great need of, programs like the ones that Transitions are running here. And today we provide mobility for more than 300 people per year. And we want to do more because we know the need is bigger than that. But of course, we all depend on donations and money that we are able to get from foundations and churches and individual friends. We do make personal wheelchairs according to each user capacity, size, lifestyle, and local conditions. We got to remember that this is a very beautiful country, but we have, different environments here. Like we are located in La Antigua, Guatemala, which is a beautiful colonial city that is very well known because of their cobblestones, streets, which are pretty, but they're not really friendly for us, But there we go. We are manufacturing chairs here, and we have been proving that people with disabilities can participate in society. We have about 10 employees, half of staff have mobility impairments. They are the ones who came one time looking for a wheelchair, a crutch, a prosthetic, a orthotic, and now they are the ones who are the teachers that are helping us to get the new um, group of people that will continue with this organization. So this is a good sample. I don't know if you can see on my screen the different models, that we are manufacturing. And at the beginning, we were focusing only on active, young people because that's what we want. We're not young anymore. So we have, what we call active, or everyday use wheelchair. We have a pediatric chair, and we have what um, we call it a torbellino because we've been using different names. But the most important thing is not about the name. The most important thing is that we are making wheelchairs according to the needs of the person. This is something you don't see in a region. People are used to get, whatever is available. We do get a lot of donations from other countries from people with good hearts that come and bring wheelchairs and containers, but I think it's good. But the problem is they ended up, having this little kid in this huge chair, or this, you know, big grown up, person in a very tiny chair. So I think it's very important to provide an appropriate wheelchair for the needs of the person. So we have to do an evaluation, and then we have a prescription. And with that prescription, we can go ahead and get, the chair that the person needs, or we have to manufacture it. So this is another side of transitions. As you can see in the pictures, this is the person, this is the staff that makes this happen. Person with disability building chairs for other users. Mobility and independence, inclusions and dignity. This is something we see very often now. We find people that are always laying down on the floor, that they lay down on their bed, and just to see the big change, from horizontal to vertical is huge. You can see how people that receives a chair here, how the users that receive a chair change the way of seeing, the world, change the way they see our technicians that uses a wheelchair and manufactures a wheelchair. It's amazing. Other services that we provide is prosthetics and orthotics. This is a very important program because with a prosthetic leg, we have witnessed how kids can start just walking, for the first time and running, and it's amazing. And it's also very expensive. And that's why we depend on the money that we get from churches and organizations that believe in the work that we do. Because most of the people that come to get our services at the prosthetics clinic don't have the means to pay. So we have to do it. But it's very important. One other service that I think it's just part of our life, and it's part of the great future that we have. It's a sport. Why I say that? Because through the sports we have being able to break many boundaries. We have been able to expose ourselves. And I remember when I started to play basketball, in our neighborhood, people used to complain. They used to say, well, you come to the basketball court and, our kids are playing here, you're going to hurt us. Oh, you cannot use wheelchairs on the court, you're going to scratch the court. But you know what? 20 some years later, we are part of the wheelchair basketball team Guatemala. You have been representing the the sport players in our country, around the world, and now people see us with different eyes. So I would like to thank all of you for letting me participate in this important occasion. We should do that every year. I would like to introduce you to my friend Rebecca Peter, who will show you around the organization that we run here in Transitions.
Hello. Hello, I'm in the Rotary here, and I'm going to take you on a little tour, which I hope you'll be able to see the transition. Let's see.
Alex, can you stop sharing your screen so we can see Rebecca's screen a bit bigger?
No lo oí.
Alex, please stop sharing his screen so we can see your screen, Rebecca, bigger, because right now our screen is taken by Alex's presentation. Did you hear me?
Tell me again, I didn't hear that.
I was asking Alex if he can please stop sharing his screen so we can make your image bigger, and so we can, there you go. And I'm gonna also try to move out so we can, the only thing we see is your screen. Okay.
Okay. Great. Now I will go. Okay. Hello. Oh, sorry. So here we are going into the this is Ephraim, who is cutting the raw material for the wheelchairs is metal tube, aluminum or steel. And so Ephraim is cutting a piece to length to make this particular wheelchair. Sorry, I keep moving my phone. I'm going to try and be better at it. And then what do we have over here? We have, here is Jacqueline. What are you doing, Jacqueline? Oh, she's bending. So this is where Jacqueline is bending the metal tube, which will become the push rim of the wheelchair. And actually, the wheelchairs are really handmade, which seems they really, really are. And here is Gonzalo. ¿Qué estás haciendo?
Hola, estoy haciendo perforando algunas piezas para una silla pediátrica.
So Gonzalo is drilling holes in one of the the components for we have a special chair for kids with cerebral palsy, and he's drilling the holes because that chair is adjustable so that we can have it at different angles. Gracias. Let's see where we're going here. This is let's see, a machine for bending. This is welding. So that is Wilder, who is welding the frame of a wheelchair. Oh, here's someone else. And Wilder is welding in aluminium. And here we have Eduardo, who's welding in steel. Wow. That's a lot of... and this is the spare parts. You can see there's lots of spare parts here. And that is because it's very difficult for us to get components that we need in Guatemala. So we save everything from wheelchairs that come in for repair or that can't be repaired. And here is Ephraim doing another... Hello, Ephraim. What are you doing here now?
I'm making those piece of the chair.
Oh, sorry. What are you doing? You're making a piece.
I'm making it to avoid and go out inside of the seat.
Okay. Okay. So, very good. And let's see. So, and some of our staff are away on holiday right now. Usually there's about twice as many people here. Here are some wheelchairs that have been repaired and that are waiting to be collected. And let's see, what else can I show you? Here are some trophies from the basketball. Because Alex said that we play basketball, and actually Transitions is the regional champion for Central America at the moment. So that might be enough of a tour. Should I hand back to Alex now? Let's see.
Thank you, Rebecca.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much. As you can see, we have a unique place where people with disabilities not only have employment, but enjoy making, wheelchairs and changing the life of many people with disabilities in Guatemala that need, I think they only need to have the right, to have better mobility and for them have a better life. I don't know if you have any questions for me that I can respond to you. I'll be more than happy to do it.
I do have a question, so I'm just going to take the floor while the rest of the people get typing. I was wondering, how do you select the people that you serve? Is it everyone, whoever comes is served? Is there any restrictions, any limitations?
Well, let me know. Let me tell you. We have a process. It all depends on the grants that we have.
Mm-hmm.
We do apply to many churches and foundations, usually at the end of the year for next year. That's what we've been doing this month. And then once we have the grants, we know how many people we can serve. Usually it's about 20 to 25 per grant. So we'll say we have about, we'll say 90 to 100 a year, are sponsored by any of those churches or foundations. And then we do ask people when we don't have, funding for them, we do ask people to come for an evaluation so we can see, what their needs are. and then we put them in a waiting list. And sometimes we do ask the family if they want to participate, by, helping us at least with the materials, and they can pitch in with some money, and then we can find the rest of it. That's how we work, And there's some people now that are able to pay full price. People that used to go to the US or Canada to buy their, wheelchairs, and they see that now we have them available here, so they don't have to spend money on, airfares. So they come to us, and we do sell, chairs, and that is part of our sustainability, which is something that we need to work to,
Mm-hmm. So Renee makes a comment here. She's saying that if she's imagining, it's amazing that they are able to do this. And I imagine in Canada, trying to do something like this will hit a lot of liability barriers. So the government will start saying, you can do that. That's so much of liability. So do you have any hindrances or policies around safety by the government? Is there anything that?
I wish we could have that. That means we have some, I don't know, like connections with the government at least.
Yeah.
We don't get any support, from them. Actually, we do get a lot of referrals from there. They say, well, there is this NGO in La Antigua Guatemala. Why don't you go there and see if they can help you? Which is a little bit, odd to me. But no, we don't. Unfortunately, we don't have that. But we do have the certification of the World Health Organization of provisions of wheelchairs, which is something we need to be able to operate, and we do have that. Yeah. Yeah, and we comply with all this safety in our wheelchair factory and prosthetics clinic.
How was it? Because my understanding is that there was a transition between doing the wheelchairs and prosthetics. So do you start with the wheelchairs and move into the prosthetics, or
See,
how does that happen?
We started because there was a great need, of these mobility devices or appropriate technology. There was this group of 4 guys, young guys, including myself in that group. I am a paraplegic person, so we needed wheelchairs. And we met a group of people from Rotary in Portland, Oregon. And they say, why don't you go to San Francisco State University to learn how to build chairs for the third world? And so we went there, got training, come back, open up the shop, and we started, to manufacture wheelchairs. But within the group that we had, there was a few guys that needed braces, for walking. And so another club from Canada, came along and say, hey, we're going to bring a technician from Canada that might be able to teach you how to do prosthetics and orthotics here instead of, going back and forth to the US and spend a lot of money in airfares and all the logistics. And that's how we got started, and people just, they just find us because they knew about us, they knew somebody that we help it. And that's how people get to know about our work, because it's a great need. There aren't many projects like ours, in Guatemala. Yeah.
So do you work? Sorry, do you work in connection with people in the US and Guatemala? Are you still in connection with them?
Yeah. And actually, we have a very, very good connection with Abbotsford Rotary Club in Canada. They've been helping us a lot. And Salmon Arm Rotary Club too. We've been working with a lot of the clubs around the globe. But Ghana has been a great contributor to the work that we do here. So thank you so much for that.
So I just want to also let you know that here in the chat, we have a lot of people from Canada who are amazed with your work and thinking about how many lives would you change if would a service like that change here in Canada, because there is not much accessibility either to mobility aid devices here unless people have money. So Melissa says, I wish that we could do this here. Imagine how many people would be empowered to be employed and gain confidence in their lives. So not just for access to tailored devices, says Renee, but also employment opportunities. So the combination, and I want to add to, like, it's guided by the fact that is people with disabilities doing the work is so amazing because they can understand exactly what is being said in terms of needs.
Yeah, I think one of the good things about people coming to see the work that we do, and people that see like the video that you saw today with Rebecca, is that you really can, witness what we do, that it's happening. We're not trying to convince people to help us to start something from beginning, we're already on it, I wish people will see it like they want to be part of something incredible, because I see it every day, people that need, better mobility. And then you see how people, face changes when you provide them with a better, wheelchair or prosthetic. So if you could help us, I have to do the ask, if you can help us by sponsoring one of those persons that are really in need of have, an opportunity, that deserves a right to better their mobility. That's the only thing I'm asking. It's not for us, but I do see the need of the people, how we can change people's life through the programs that we operate here. And of course, people that are participating today, if they ever come and visit Guatemala or La Antigua, because everybody likes Antigua, should come and see what we do and be part of it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
and so, well, if one of you can drop in the chat the donate page, we will be happy to put it on the website when we put the video up, or if you want to send it to us or by email, however, whatever is easier for you, we'll be happy to share that possibility. And we're really impressed with your work. Next is also asking, how many people's lives, I guess, do you impact on yearly basis?
Well, I'll tell you, at the beginning, we were not counting the people, not at all. We thought, oh, we're just gonna do this for 3 or 5 years. It's been 28 years for me, and we don't see it. It's not gonna happen. But if we, we're trying to work on the numbers, because we keep expanding our programs. But I would say about 900 people a year, sort of, between new wheelchairs, prosthetics, youth stuff, repairings, it's about 900, I think. And we have more room to help more people. And the limitation is the funding, That's why I wish the government will be, involved to help more people. And, one other thing is we're not only helping Guatemalans, we've been teaching people from other countries. We've been teaching people from El Salvador to Honduras and Nicaragua, because they want to have a project like Transitions in their countries, because they see, hey, they always, talk to me and say, hey, you should come and help us out. We have the same needs. So it's not only about us, Rebecca's helping me too.
I think we got your webpage and your donate option there. So you help around 900 people a year, plus all the work or employment that you provide. So did I hear like 25 people?
We're 22.
22.
Yeah.
All of you basketball champions.
Not all of it. It's about 10 of us, and then the rest, they do work. That's what they say.
Amazing. We were really so Renee said she says we need to all go for a visit and build in Canada. We really need some kind of service like that here as well. There are a lot of people who do not have access, or they have access to a standard, not properly fitted option for them. So that is really impressive, and it's really amazing what you're doing. And I think that everyone in the chat is like, we have no words. So it's like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Yeah. Well, one thing I would like to share with you is, I used to live in the US. I visit the US. I've been in Canada and in Europe, and I'm amazed, how people complain. People with disabilities complain about the services and the life that they live. And I'm thinking, well, we have a little too less of that in Guatemala. It's not a complaint, but it's amazing, how people see their, life, I guess. But people in Guatemala, they do have nothing here. So yeah, that's why we exist. And thank you so much, everybody, for being involved. Yeah, it makes us just part of it. We're part of it,
Yeah, a really important thing to learn from you, and the importance of upholding the dignity of people living with disabilities and their capacity to access spaces and be supported properly in the mobility aids that they need. I wonder if there's any other question or any other comment. And the capacity to do it at a grassroots level with innovation added, Renee, in the chat there. So if
Yeah, maybe I'll share with you a little experience that we had. There's this Miss Wheelchair, event, hosted by Canadians, I guess, and we were able to help, the Miss Guatemala wheelchair by providing her with a new wheelchair because they were looking for a chair. They were looking to get, funding to purchase a wheelchair in Canada, and my colleague was able to contact them, and instead of purchasing in Canada and bringing it to Guatemala with no measurements at all, we were able to do it here. And now in this next event, we sponsor the next Miss Wheelchair Guatemala. We say the price is going to be that Transitions is going to custom made a wheelchair for her. So we're just trying to get, in all the spaces that we can, so we can expose our work and just to provide appropriate technology. And, I think it's very important for us.
definitely. And so, yeah, so it seems that the biggest barrier you have is resources, as is pointed in the chat. And so hopefully we can put it also put your webpage into your donate page here to circulate. It's with a lot of admiration that I want to just praise what you're doing, not only in terms of the effort, but the impact that you have on your community. And so we all are really amazed and I think inspired as well is the word. It's like my heart is between amazed and impressed and admire of how accessible your resources are for everyone. And so I want to thank you, and thank you, Melissa, for doing the connection, and thank you for your work. And hopefully we can continue making connections and supporting your work.
Thank you very much, and have a wonderful day, and keep positive, and take care of your loved ones.
Thank you so much, Alex. Thank you, Rebecca. Have a good day.
All right,
Thank
thanks.
you, everyone, for your.
Bye, everybody. Have a nice one.